Peter Dutton held his first election campaign media conference. That was in Brisbane just before lunchtime, basically reiterating his budget in reply speech from last night. And when asked about being framed as Australia's Donald Trump, he had a slap, as he should have, at the PM.
You know, the sledge-a-thon is on by the Prime Minister because he doesn't have a good story to tell about his 3 years in government. Sledge-a-thon is such a great word. And I do note, news just in, that the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has jetted into Brisbane tonight. So clearly they are looking at trying to claw back those 3 seats won by the Greens. Let's bring in Nationals leader, speaking of Queensland, David Littleproud, who could be, of course, our next Deputy Prime Minister. David, good luck over the next 5 weeks. Interesting that Albanese's chosen to go straight to Brisbane. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, from what I hear, that there are some challenges for Annika Wells, and obviously it'll be interesting to see where the Prime Minister turns up tomorrow, as well as I would suggest that Blair is at risk as well. I don't think that's been put on the analysis. I think there's a strong candidate there and a strong chance for us. But Brisbane and Ryan are both seats that I think that the National and Liberal Party can pick up in Queensland. So while we're at a high watermark, I still think there's some seats to be gained for the coalition in Queensland. And I think that's testament to the fact that Peter's run a very strong campaign. He's very popular in Queensland.
Does that help that he is a Queenslander? I mean, obviously, when you come from a particular state, you're better known there. Queenslanders seem to be embracing Peter Dutton.
Yeah, I think we're a pretty pragmatic bunch up here, and I think we embrace those that just use some common sense. We're back to basics up here in Queensland, and we don't take fools lightly. So I just think Peter is one of us, and I think we've taken Prime Ministers. I mean, John Howard was a very popular Prime Minister up here, very popular. And we did have a love affair with Kevin Rudd, but when we found out he didn't have any common sense, we lost him pretty quick.
Yeah, your theory about Queenslanders falls in the heap when you talk about Kevin Rudd. We saw the Prime Minister come out into that the Prime Ministerial courtyard today, and one of his first words were, you know, we've turned the corner. I mean, seriously, nobody that I speak to, and I speak to a lot of people, I catch a lot of public transport, I try and talk to as many people from different parts of Australia as possible. No one tells me that they're better off today than they were 3 years ago. You can't make that argument. It's just rubbish.
Well, it just goes to show how out of touch, and the measures that they put in this budget, giving 70 cents in 15 months' time, fails to show that the Prime Minister has any grasp of the cost of living pressure out there in the heartland of Australia. There's mums and dads tonight that can't afford to put food on the table for their children. In a country as rich as this, you've got a Prime Minister that's going to give them 70 cents in 15 months. He hasn't had the courage to take on the supermarkets. He's had a business as usual approach with them, and he hasn't had the courage to face into the energy crisis we've got in this country. Instead, he's tried to kick it down the road and kick it down with your money. And ultimately what happens is you can subsidise and give rebates till the cows come home. But eventually what happens is your money runs out. When it runs out, the merry-go-round stops and you get left with the bill. And you don't have an energy system. You've got to have leadership. You've got to have someone that's prepared to have the courage to say, we're going to fix this. We've got all the resources here to do it. But instead, Anthony Albanese hasn't got a record to actually campaign on. He's telling us we haven't any better than we should expect. And the reality is Australians are paying the deep price for it.
I reckon the fuel excise decision taken by the coalition is going to be hugely popular. I mean, you live in the bush. I mean, people who live in country Australia, they fill their cars up a lot with fuel. I mean, obviously petrol and diesel prices. If you suddenly turn up after the election, Peter Dutton, and you have won, and you go to the garage and you've got a 25% discount on your petrol, that's a meaningful change, because some people are filling their cars up 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, and you look at the congestion as you come through the cities, as I came through today to get out of Brisbane to get home. The reality is congestion's there. You're burning it up every day. This is something that's very meaningful that people will see in their wallets that will give them that relief. And we've said we'll look at it at the end of the 12 months because it is only a fraction of the 70 cents that you're going to get in 15 months, that's got a bill of over $17 billion. This is $6 billion, and we're being responsible. We just can't keep throwing money one after another. We've got to be sensible about this. We've got to look you in the eye and say there's so much that we can do. We'll do something that's targeted, that's going to give you some relief. And what Anthony Albanese has done is down the track, and it's not tax reform. When we actually address the bracket creep, we'll do it properly, and we'll do it when we've got the money, because that's the right thing to do.
I watched with interest the live sheep protests across Perth today. Massive numbers of people, trucks. That is going to have an impact on the vote in WA, is it not?
Yeah, and I think that's why you saw the independent in Curtin, Kate Chaney, flip-flop on her decision. She was ideologically against the live sheep industry. All of a sudden, Western Australians, rightfully, were angry about this because there's no scientific or economic reason to do this. In fact, us cutting and running, Anthony Albanese cutting and running, will mean that there'll be the perverse and horrific death of millions of sheep from other parts of the world, from those markets like South Africa, Sudan and Ethiopia, who come and take this market up. And he's prepared to do that just because he did a deal with the Animal Justice Party. Now, Kate Chaney started to realise that, but she's still been a little bit on the fence and won't say whether she'll vote with us, because the first thing I'll do if I become the next Deputy Prime Minister is bring a bill in to reinstate it. And my first trip will be to show respect to those Middle East countries, Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, that we can be trusted with their food security. And I'm sad I couldn't get there, but we've got a pretty serious unfolding disaster out in Western Queensland as we speak, and I'm going to head out there to be with my people tomorrow. But I understand it was a great rally.
Yeah, I've seen those floodwaters. It looks pretty grim. I hope everyone's okay out there. David, good luck over the next 5 weeks. We'll catch up, I'm sure, on a Friday night between now and polling day.